Jaya Padma Bringa Ugram Veeram Mahavishnum Jwalantam Sarvadomukam Narasimham Bhishanam Bhadram Mrityo Namamyaham Namaste Narasimhaya Prahladanadayine Hiranyakashipo Rakshaha Shilatankanakalaye Ito Narsimha Parato Narsimha Yato Yato Yami Tato Narsimha Bahir Narsimho Hridaye Narsimha Narsimha Madim Sharanam Prapadye Tava Kara Kamala Varenaka Adbhuta Shringa Lalita Hiranyakashipu Tanu Bringam Keshavadrita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Tava Kara Kamala Varenaka Adbhuta Shringa Dalita Hiranyakashipu Tanu Bringa Keshavadrita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jaya Narsimhadev Jaya Narsimhadev Jaya Narsimhadev Jaya Narsimhadev Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Gurudev 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaur Hari Bol. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji.
Prabhuji, just like to say some small thing, Prabhuji, just for admins. So actually, two messages were posted. The Isopanisad. First one said 6:15 to 7:15 போட்டு அதுல வந்து ஒரு ஐடி பாஸ்வேர்ட் எல்லாமே போட்டிருந்தது. Then join at 4 PM னு போட்டு ஒரு ஐடி பாஸ்வேர்ட் இருந்தது. ஸோ அந்த 6:15 7:15 ஐடி பாஸ்வேர்ட் didn't work. அதுதான் நான் போட்டு பார்த்துட்டு ஜாயின் பண்ண முடியலன்ட்டு then I suddenly thought சரி இந்த 4 PM ஜாயின் பண்ணதே போடலான்னு போட்டா I was able to join now.
இப்போ நம்ம 4 PM லிங்க்லயே இருக்கோம் இப்போ.
ஆமா.
Are we in Bhakti Vriksha?
Yes, Prabhuji. Even
yes,
I had the same
yes,
problem.
Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Oh,
but
maybe.
then Shama Mataji has corrected it and posted again, I think so, Prabhuji, after
yes.
that.
Oh, I think we have to see. We have some names there in the meetings titles. I think we have to change. We have not changed those titles. That's why confusion is coming. I don't know. That means I have joined with the wrong meeting link, right? And you have also done that. Okay.
We scrambled
Yes,
around.
Yes.
அது வந்து கரெக்டா அதுல வருது பிரபுஜி. இங்கிலீஷ் டியூஸ்டே 7 PM to 9 PM னு வருது அந்த இதுல. But the host already has a meeting in progress. We are not able to join.
Oh, I see. Okay. So we'll start this. Anyway, we are recording. Hare Krishna. So, can one of you summarize what you have read? So, just in very, very briefly, from 1 to 8. You can summarize. You don't even have to speak about every shloka. Overall, what we have learned.
Overall, Prabhuji, I'll just try, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, first invocation sloka, I think all of them know. After that, we learned that everything belongs to Krishna, and we have to use only whatever is allotted to us, and we should not desire anybody else's property. Then, if we know that everything is Krishna and we live according to that, the next sloka says that for 100 years a person can lead a peaceful life. And the next sloka says a person who does
without karma touching him. That's important.
Yeah, yes, Prabhuji, without karma touching. And and a person who does not realize that will go to the darkest hellish regions.
Of ignorance. Yes.
Ignorance. Yes. After that, Prabhuji, then the fifth and sixth, I think, Prabhuji talks about.
Fifth, actually, we start counting from the Isavasyam only. First is called invocation, so we don't number it. Purnamadaha Purnamidam, it's not a number, it's an invocation.
Okay.
So we are now talking about 4 and 5.
Okay, Prabhuji. Then talks about the Lord's inconceivable powers, Prabhuji. The Lord walks and but does not walk, and the Lord seems to be near, but seems to be far, and also near, within and also without. So it talks about inconceivable powers of the Lord, and which an impersonalist cannot understand. Only a devotee can understand that, Prabhuji.
Inconceivable because all kinds of contradictory things harmoniously coexist in the supreme truth. What we would consider contradiction in this material world, it is not a contradiction in the spiritual world. It is completely natural. Like the Lord is in one place, but at the same time, he permeates everything. He is within and outside of everything. All these things are something, and he's so far away, but yet so near. He's the nearest, and he's also the farthest, like that. So these are contradictions in our material terms. So we would think, but in God, how can these contradictions coexist? But they exist because of the spiritual nature, as you very correctly said, Achintya Shakti. Okay, so when we see like this, immediately our mind will say, oh, then God must be formless, impersonal, and all that. Okay, so that is Shloka 4, 3 and 4. 5 and 6. 4 and 5. 6 is what? 6 and 7.
Is it about the devotees different? Yeah, if anybody wants to try.
Yeah. Would anyone like to speak about 6 and 7?
That is, the Supreme Lord is within everyone, that is, and he doesn't hate or, ignore anyone. That is, I think, Mantra 6, Prabhuji.
Yes.
Mantra 6, it is said in that. And the Mantra 7 is that, so when living entity looks at others as a spiritual spark of the Lord, then he then has no, he knows everything. That is, when he comes to know that Krishna is within each and every living being, he comes to know that Krishna is within everyone. So he knows the true, he has the true knowledge of Krishna.
Yeah, so basically, yeah, that's right. So Shloka 6 and 7, they tell us how God consciousness changes a person. So what is God consciousness? To know that the supreme truth exists and all the souls here are part and parcel of that. So that means you see everything in connection with the Lord only. So if you see the connection of the Lord in everything that exists in this material world, then you don't hate anybody. There is no hatred of anything or anyone because you are seeing everything in connection with the Lord. And 7th Shloka re-emphasizes the same thing to say all living entities are spiritual sparks and part and parcel of Krishna. If you see, then you are the real seer. Then you really see. That means what? There is no illusion. Really seeing means seeing without illusion. But all of us are seeing with illusion only. Because we are seeing everything disconnected from Krishna. We are not seeing everything in connection with Krishna. That is why we develop love, hate, fear, anxiety, all these things, because we don't see the connection of Krishna in everything. So in these two shlokas, it's connecting. See, every shloka is actually connecting. It's not that any shloka is standalone. The answer for one shloka is there in the shlokas that we have. It's like a chain. So here we are told, after we are told about God's inconceivable powers, then we are told So now we should know, not only God exists in a spiritual world, but he's connected with everything in this material world. If you know that, then you are never disturbed. There is no hatred in your heart towards anyone. And in that way, if you see everything as part and parcel of God, then your vision is now clear. There is no illusion that is covering you. So that is what we heard in 7. And 8th shloka, because people will have a tendency by this time to think God is formless, 8th shloka very clearly tells God has a form, but not like in this material world. We all have material forms because the soul is trapped in a body. The body is like a machine. That is shown by this word, Asnaviram. Asnaviram means the Lord doesn't have any skeletal system, nervous system, circulatory system like blood vessels and all. That means we have all these things, you see. Very easily an intelligent person can realize that my body is a machine. In our science class, we were taught, the skeletal system, they will show a picture in our body. There is a skull and there is a spinal cord and a whole lot of bones radiating from that. And then we have the leg bones, all these things. And in our lab, they used to hang one skeleton, hanging, smiling skeleton in every science lab we used to have. And
Yes,
seeing that, this is what is inside me. How I can consider this is me? The skeleton, is it me? Or when you see the nervous system diagram, such a complicated system of nerves, which is sending electricity up and down our body, right? From the brain to the whole body, electricity is flowing both ways. It is going from brain to the whole body, and from the whole body it is going back. And the brain is connected to every part with the nervous system. And through the nerves, this electricity is transmitted. So when the heart is beating, love, dub, love, dub, every beat, there is one electric pulse going from the brain to the heart. So it's not that everything is happening spontaneously. Brain is constantly sending these electric pulses to the heart, and then the heart is beating. And that is why ECG works. Because it is not the heartbeat it is taking the electric pulse traveling. That's why, ECG, it shows the picture of how it is working. So it's all a machine, don't you see? It's a very complicated machine, not like the machine made by man, because these machines, 2 machines can come together and give birth to more machines. Amazing. But still, you can very clearly see the circulatory system, how the blood is flowing through the arteries. It is going from the heart, pump to all parts of the body. The heart is pumping and it is pushed. And then through the veins, it is returning. There is no pushing. Through the veins, it is returning to the heart by an amazing system of valves. Right? The valves prevent the blood from flowing back. Otherwise, all the blood will connect in our legs only. But it flows back because of the valves. So while pumping out, it is the force of the heart. While returning, the valves control the movement of the blood. So such an amazing system we have. The skeletal, the circulatory, the respiratory system. Imagine if 24 hours, if you have to consciously breathe, take air in and then out, then take in, like they teach in pranayama class. Breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. Has God given this problem to us? Our lungs are automatically breathing. The air is going in, going out spontaneously. If anyone becomes aware of the breathing, then they are diseased. We have seen sick people, gasping for breath. They can't breathe. But in our case, the diaphragm and the lungs as a system, they are automatically attracting the air in and pumping it out. The whole system, the diaphragm and the 2 lungs, they are amazingly controlling the flow of air inside and out. But what is the use of the air if the air is not pumped through the blood vessels to the whole body? That is being done by the heart. The oxygenated blood is pumped throughout the body. Then carbon mixed blood, the impure blood, it returns to the heart. And then it pumps it into the lungs. And from the lungs, again, it collects the oxygen. See the amazing system. It's such a complicated machine. But this machine is not me. That we can see clearly. I am the thinking, feeling, willing person. The thinking, feeling, and willing person, that's what I am. That person is invisible. That person is cloaked in this material body, the subtle and the gross body. Both are cloaks covering the soul. So I am the soul. There is a clear distinction between soul and body. But in the case of God, Asnaviram, he has no blood vessels. So there is no skeletal system for his body. There is no nervous system. There is no respiratory system. There is no circulatory system. There is no eliminatory system. All these systems. But still he has a form which looks like us. And foolishly, avajananti ma mudha manushim tanumashritam param bhavam ajananto mama bhuta maheshwaram. I am the Lord of all. But foolish people, when I accept a body similar to a human and I come in this world, they deride me. They say, hey, this is not God, this is only a human being. Brahman has taken birth by accepting a human body. Krishna is a human body, but the Brahman inside is real. You surrender to the Brahman within Krishna. It is a Brahman which is talking through Krishna. Krishna has died already. A hunter shot an arrow through his foot and he died. Who will die by an hunter shooting an arrow on the foot? It is not hitting the heart, it is not hitting the head, it is hitting the foot. And Krishna dies. Krishna, so many arrows were shot at him by Bhishmadev in Mahabharata war. His body was ridden and there was so much blood pouring from Krishna, he did not die from that. One hunter shoots an arrow and he dies. And that is Krishna's play. Krishna's Yogamaya will make all these plays so that foolish people will say Krishna is a man, because Krishna doesn't want to reveal his truth to ordinary people, to non-devotees, to Mayavadis, impersonalists. He doesn't want to share. So he creates a story like this. But Brahmadev sees, what he sees? Krishna, after completing his pastime, Krishna is going up. All the devatas are seeing, he's going up. And Brahmadev, the highest planet in this material creation, he's also seeing Krishna is going beyond. And he's going beyond the material world. Krishna showed that darshan again to give faith to the devatas. And as far as the devotees are concerned, he doesn't have to show anything like that. Devotees know the spiritual world. And they know one day they will return to the spiritual world. But Krishna is having his eternal pastime with his purely surrendered devotees. So this is how the 8th shloka taught us. Don't be a fool and think that when I say God has no form, think that he has no form. Akayam means no material form. He has spiritual form. Then he describes. So basically, the moment you say God is omniscient, omnipotent, omnipresent, and is all powerful, immediately you cannot accept a person who is having all these qualities. You will immediately think it is a force or a power. It cannot have a form. So unconsciously you are limiting the powers of God. If I love or if I want to love God, Krishna, the God will immediately reciprocate with his amazing form. So all the 84 lakh species, and among them, the highest is the human form, where the best reciprocation is possible with God. That's why God has given us this very complicated machinery of this body. Best body where you can have thinking, feeling, and willing. And Krishna has invested independence in this body. With this independence in this body, we are able to act. Of course, by independence, we create karma. And the karma is again limiting our independence. I have given this example many times about a peg and a cow being tied to that peg. It's a huge field, but the length of the rope connecting the cow with the peg, it decides how much the cow can graze in the field, right? It becomes a radius of a circle. The length of the rope becomes a radius of a circle. So area covered by that, it's only the area where it can feed. But actually the field is unlimited. And if the rope is cut, the cow can go anywhere and graze. So we have become like cows by our karma. But by our karma, we are tied. So if you have good karma, you have a long rope. If you have bad karma, the rope becomes limited. If you are akarma, you are completely free. So this we all know. So basically, Isopanisad is very clearly giving us, gradually it is taking us, God. Because sometimes when we straight away say God has a form, we will imagine so many limitations. But the unlimited nature of God has been explained. And then we are told, but he has also a form. Mind-blowing. That if God has all these things, and he's also having a form. And what does he do? He is self-sufficient. In the 8th shloka, we saw God is self-sufficient. But at the same time, he is fulfilling the needs of all the souls. Nityo nityanam chetana chetana. Yeko bahuna. Yo vidadati kama. He fulfills the needs of all the souls. But at the same time, he has no need. Again, when we say he has no need, you should not think that he is like a dead object, because dead things have no need, no desire. So you will immediately imagine, oh, see, God is Brahman, formless. That's why he has no desire. No, God has unlimited desires. But these unlimited desires are instantly fulfilled by his unlimited energies. That is what is called omnipotence. So Prabhupada explained it by saying, Angani yasya sakalendriyavarti manti. Krishna's amazing Sachitananda body. Every part of the body can do the functions of every other part of the body. Can I eat with my eyes? Can I see through my back? Can I walk through my hands? Things like that I cannot do, but Krishna can. So that is his omnipotence. And Krishna can even accept your offerings through an archa vigraha, which is made of a metal or stone or something. So unlimited. So how to understand Krishna? Only through the acharya. Otherwise, the supreme truth cannot be understood. So these are the things. Now we go to, I will try to cover 9, 10, and 11. Now. So 9th shloka, let us read. Andam tama pravishanti ye vidyam upasate. You can see one apostrophe between ye and vidyam. That means one a is hiding there. When you combine, it becomes ye vidyam, but it is actually ye avidyam upasate. Andam, darkness. And andam tamaha. Ignorance and darkness. Andam tamaha indicates both darkness and ignorance. Pravishanti, they enter. Who enter? Ye vidyam upasate. Not vidyam, avidyam. Those who are culturing ignorance. Who will culture ignorance? We will see. They will enter darkest ignorance. Those who culture, those who practice, those who nourish ignorance, they will go darkness. Then, shockingly, next 2 lines, Tato bhuya ivate tamo ya yu vidyaya vrata. But those who culture knowledge, they will enter an even darker space. Those who are attached to culturing of knowledge, they will enter even darker regions than those who worship avidya. Those who are culturing, practicing avidya, they reach darkness. But those who culture vidya, they reach even greater darkness. So that is what 9th shloka. Is it not mind-boggling? Then what else to do? I should neither culture vidya or avidya. What to do? So that is explained very nicely in Prabhupada's purports. So, are all of you reading purports before coming to class? Let me see hands going up. How many hands?
Prabhuji, sometimes after the class we read them.
Okay. Okay. Before or after the class, who all read? Let the hands go up. Lakshmi, Sumati Suresh Mataji is okay. Only 2 of you. Others are not having time or inclination. What is the problem?
Yes, Prabhuji, I also try to read before or after. I'm using my mobile right now. I'm traveling, so I cannot press on the response. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay, good. Thank you.
Prabhuji, this is the first class I'm attending.
Oh, okay.
I wasn't in station and I didn't attend.
Okay. See, I don't want to make all of you lame by making you lean on me completely, because I am myself lame. So if you want to lean on somebody, you should lean on somebody who is really strong, can take your weight. Yeah. So please understand, I am just slightly throwing a little light, which is what I have. But please read Prabhupada. When you read Prabhupada, unlimited mercy of Prabhupada will shower on you. Don't miss it by depending on Kalanidhi Das. I don't have such powers. I can only speak some English, that's all. Please, please, please read Prabhupada's purpose. For you only he has written, burning the midnight oil. At the ripe old age of 70 to 80, he wrote all these things. He did not sleep for the sake of giving his divine purports. And Prabhupada says, my purports are my devotional ecstasies. How many of you have seen this quote? My purports are my devotional ecstasies. The way you can get ecstasy is to bathe in this ecstasy of Prabhupada. Then you will get that ecstasy. After all, why are we all here? We want to experience that ecstasy of divine love. And that is available in book form. Simply Prabhupada's compassion is there. Ecstasy is there. So please take advantage. It's such a small book we have picked up. So please, please read this book. Because if I try to cover the whole purport of Prabhupada, I can't move at all. I'll be getting stuck. So I have to skip certain things, but I have to hope that you will read them. Okay. So here, avidya and vidya are mentioned. The avidya mentioned here refers to not knowing that I am not this body. That is called avidya. That is a root of avidya. Thinking I am the body is avidya. The moment you think I am the body, then instantly all your senses, material senses become active. Material mind becomes active. And they start demanding food. All your material senses and mind will start demanding food. And Prabhupada says, there are 3 types of men, karmi, jnani, yogi. Out of this, 99.9% of the people in this world are karmi, who are looking for sense gratification. So, culturing of avidya is most dominant in this material. Most of the people are engaged in culturing ignorance, avidya, by constantly looking for sense gratification. They think the world exists for sense gratification. They think they are only a material body and one day they will die. And when they die, everything is finished. And while I have a body, I should try to enjoy. And when I try to enjoy, there is competition. So I should be competitive and I should try to enjoy as much as possible. This is what 99.9% of the population is trying to do. By Prabhupada's mercy, we have been saved. So, avidyam upasate, those who think I am the body, and those who work for sense gratification, they are the people who are avidyam upasate. Then who are those people who cultivate vidya and end up in an even darker region of ignorance? They are the people who, using their intelligence, try to promote more and more of sense gratification. Scientists, you will say scientists are the reservoir of knowledge, correct? Scientists, philosophers, they are the reservoirs of knowledge. That's what we all believe. And those who are university educated, they are the reservoirs of knowledge. So, what are they doing? This shloka says, they are culturing what they consider as knowledge, but that is all about material universe, material elements. They are only studying material elements. What for they are studying? They are trying to create more opportunities for sense gratification. So there is one set of people engaged in sense gratification. They are called avidyam upasate. They are all going into deeper ignorance. And those people who are in leadership positions, who are considered very intelligent, and people who are considered the guides and leaders of society, who are all trying to increase the facilities for economic development and for sense gratification, who are promoting this ignorance in people more strongly. They are the people who think they are vidyayam rata. They are developing knowledge, they are developing science, but because they are focused on only material knowledge, they are, in the name of vidya, they are promoting avidya. They are called vidyaya, correct? Scientists, you will say they are very knowledgeable people. Philosophers, you will say they are very knowledgeable people. But unfortunately, because they don't consider the existence of Supreme Lord, they are in forgetfulness of Supreme Lord. They are in forgetfulness of the Creator. And they are all thinking development means more sense gratification and more opportunities for sense gratification. So the legal system promotes more sense gratification. The industrialist promotes sense gratification. Scientists are creating devices for more sense gratification. The universities and colleges are giving more sense gratification. Nobody is teaching sense control to increase the knowledge of God. So this is the main lesson that 9th shloka gives. So you should know the word avidya and vidya here means, avidya means going for sense gratification. And vidya means those who are considered leaders of the society, who are only promoting more and more sense gratification and more economic development at the cost of spiritual knowledge. So Prabhupada says, such people who are promoting this kind of knowledge, they are like snake or a cobra, which is decorated with a, what do you call that? Sapphire, right? What is it? Nagamanika. It carries a
valuable jewel.
That jewel, it lights up the path for the snake. Very, very attractive. But when you go for that, the snake will bite you and you will only die. So such people who are leaders of society, who are only showing the way for sense gratification, they are like those snakes. And the attractive way in which they speak, that is only the diamond, which is the sapphire, which is carried by that snake. And Prabhupada also says, this godless civilization, whatever knowledge they have, it is like decorations on a dead body. Because they have no knowledge of soul. If you don't have a soul, you are already a dead body. I am a dead body minus my soul. Or I am a dead body, but there is an indweller called soul, which is alive. Like a car and a driver. Not that when the driver gets in, the car becomes alive. No, car is always dead. But by the instructions of the driver, the car acts as though alive. Same way, this body is always dead. But those who promote this consciousness, that this body, they are the people who are creating decorations on dead body. All the advancement of science is simply decoration on dead body. So the word Veda Vada Ratha is there in Bhagavad Gita. And here we see Vidyaya Ratha. Same thing. Veda. From Veda comes Vidya. Veda is the book of knowledge. And Vidya is what you collect from that book. So people who use the Vedas to get more benefits in this world or in the heavens, they are the people called Vidyaya Ratha. Vedas want to teach you about Supreme Lord, but without getting that through Acharyas. Unless you get connected with Acharyas, Vedas will not reveal the Supreme Truth. Only Acharyas can reveal in the Parampara system. So those who become Pandits, scholars, and who want to, by their mastery of the language, they want to understand and teach, they are the Vidyayam Ratha. They think heaven is the only place to go and enjoy for a long time, then come back here. Through yagyas and charity and austerity, they will enjoy in this world, and then they will go to heaven, enjoy there, come back here. Like this, they will be rotating. And so, those who encourage such sense gratification of the people, they enter into even darker regions. So Prabhupada says here, there are people who say, I am God, you are God, everybody is God. So such people are extremely dangerous people. They are themselves thinking, I am God, you are God, and we are temporarily covered by Maya. When we become free from Maya, we will become God. They cannot explain why then Maya is not more powerful than God. How God is powerful? They cannot explain. Still they carry all these nonsensical stories. So this is the 9th shloka. I hope you have understood the difference between avidya and vidya, the words used here. Because here the word vidya used is to show foolishly what is considered vidya is not vidya. Foolishly what is, I consider I am intelligent, I mislead the population. I deny the soul, I promote sense gratification among the population. So that's what 9th shloka. 10th shloka. Anyadevahur vidyaya, anyadahur avidyaya, iti shushruma tirana, yenastad vichachakshire. We'll read again. Anyadevahur vidyaya, anyadahur avidyaya, iti shushruma dhiranam yenastad vichachakshire. The translation is, the wise have explained that one result is derived from the culture of knowledge, and that a different result is obtained from culture of nations. Here, the translation of Vidyaya is knowledge and Avidyaya is nations. In the previous sloka, also we saw Vidya translated as knowledge. I hope you are all having the books, no? Please look at
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Chapter 9, see the translation. For Vidyayam, Prabhupada says so-called knowledge, right? Culture of so-called knowledge. So, in 9th shloka, the word Vidyayam means so-called knowledge. But in shloka 10, Vidyaya means knowledge. Yes? You may ask me, but Prabhu, same word is used in both the shlokas. Why you want me to have a different understanding? But there's a huge difference between so-called knowledge and knowledge. Right? But this is how Upanishads teaching. That's called Parokshavad. And we should be learning all these things under the guidance of spiritual masters. Guidance of spiritual masters. And they will bring out the complete meaning of the scripture, and then you will jump with joy. Yes, now I understand. I cannot understand one sloka karmanyevadikaraste mafaleshu tarachana. Oh, Krishna is recommending Nishkamya Karma Yoga only. Why there is bhakti? No need. Nishkamya Karma. Like simply incomplete knowledge and people jump. Empty vessels make a lot of sound. But when you learn with Acharya, then they guide you to correctly understand. So in this sloka, it says, one result is derived from culture of knowledge, another result is derived from culture of nations. And how do you know? I have heard. See this word, Shushruma. Shushruma means I heard. And Dhirana means those who are steady. That means those who are spiritually intelligent people. Those who are not shaken by material ups and downs. Dhirana, steady people. Shushruma, I have heard from them. This is Acharya Parampara. Dhira, the Acharyas are Dhira, and you hear from them. That is the way to get knowledge. That Vyasadeva is indicating here very clearly. They have explained, and from them you should hear. From Dhira, sober people. From them you should hear and understand. There is no other source of transcendental knowledge. There is only one source. That is hearing the scriptures from the mouth of realized acharyas coming in the bona fide Vaishnava Sampradaya. That is the only way for knowledge. Please take it deeply into your heart. Never allow any doubts to enter into you. That scientist is saying, Shastra is saying, which one should I accept? Practical, theory. I think Shastra is theory and I know practical. And I think there is a conflict. I will go for practical. Empirical. They are called empiricists. This is my experience. This is what my senses say. I will believe that. And you believe scripture, you are blind. But it will no longer remain blind if you accept the spiritual master and walk the path. Then it will no longer be blind. You will have really eyes open. Chakshur unmilitam yena tasmai shri gurave. Eyes are opened by the spiritual master to see things as they are without illusion. So in this shloka, in the previous shloka, it said, those who culture avidya enter into darkness. And those who culture vidya, they enter into deeper darkness. But here it says, those who culture vidya get a different result. Those who culture avidya, they get a different result. This is what the learned people tell, and I have heard from them. Hearing is believing. In Bhagavad Gita, you'll see Arjuna telling again and again, I have heard like this. Krishna also telling, they tell like this. You will see with Bhagavad Gita. Krishna will not say, I am saying this. He says, no, intelligent people say like this. Maharshi say like this. Jnani speak like this. Learned people speak like this. That's what Krishna will say. In whole of Bhagavatam, people will speak. What they will speak? I have heard like this, and I am telling you. Sukadeva Goswami will say like this. Sutta Goswami will say like this. Everyone, Uddhava will say like this. Krishna will say like that I have heard. So please understand, all of you, the value of hearing and The value of hearing from the right sources. So here, Prabhupada defines Vidya in some detail. How he defines? If anyone has read the purport, you will know Prabhupada is quoting straight from Bhagavad Gita, 13th chapter, 8 to 12. 13th chapter, 8 to 12 shlokas, where Krishna defines what is knowledge with 20 points. That Prabhupada summarizes here in 18 points. And out of these 18, you remember Amanitvam, Adambitvam, Ahimsa, Kshantirarjavam, Acharya Upasanam, Socham, Stairyam, Atma Vidigraham, Indriyarteshu, Vairagyam, Anahankari, Evacha, Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadi, Dukkha, Dosha, Anudarshanam, Aratir, Anabhiswangaha, Putra, Dharagriha, Adishu. Like that, 20 items Krishna will list in these 5 shlokas. Out of that, 2 are most important. One is approaching a spiritual master humbly and asking questions from him. Tad vidya pranipatyan. That is one important anga of knowledge. That is approaching a spiritual master for knowledge. Secondly, doing perfect devotion to Krishna. What does he say here? One should become an unalloyed devotee of the personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, and serve him with rapt attention. So one is you have to approach a spiritual master and serve him. Second is you have to accept Krishna as Supreme Lord and serve him. These are the 2 main items of knowledge. If you do these 2, other items of knowledge will automatically come to you. And through this, you get Krishna Prema. So Krishna Prema is the result of cultivating Vidya as defined in this book. As defined in this book, in Bhagavad Gita 13, 8 to 12. That is Vidya. By cultivating that, you get liberation and go back home, back to Godhead. But if you cultivate avidya, you get deeper and deeper into ignorance, and you get inferior and more inferior forms of life in the 84 lakhs of species. This is what is important. And how to get vidya? By listening to Dhira, who is the spiritual master. So that's what Prabhupada says. Prabhupada quotes profusely from Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Bhaktivinoda Thakur has a beautiful Vaishnava song. Some of you might, I think all of you might have heard because you attended Vaishnava song class. Vidyara Vilase. There is an amazing song by Bhaktivinoda Thakur where he says, he was a highly educated person. You remember, he was a magistrate under the British regime. Highly educated person. He says, because of this burden of knowledge, I have become a donkey. I continue to cultivate this knowledge. I thought I am such a brilliant person. I am so powerful and I can guide the whole world. But now I have become only an ass. What does an ass do? It's a beast of burden. So my education has become a burden on me. This knowledge has made me an ass because I have become forgetful of you, Krishna, and becoming absorbed in this world with family, children, and so many responsibilities. I have become a beast of burden. I have forgotten you, Krishna. Please remove this ignorance, what I have accumulated in the name of knowledge. That's what here it says, avidya. Avidya. Because of avidya, I have become so foolish. But by turning to the dhira, I can become intelligent and knowledgeable. So the bona fide spiritual master is most important. And Arjuna shows the way how to become a dhira. How to become a dhira? By submissively hearing from a bona fide spiritual master. Arjuna heard from Krishna very submissively and he became a dhira. How do you know? Arjuna says at the end of Bhagavad Gita, Nashto moho smritir labdha tat prasadad mayachita stitosmi gatasandeha karishye vachanam tava. Krishna, all my illusion is gone, all my doubts are gone, my memory has been restored, now I have become very steady and now I will do exactly what you order me to do. That is called dhira. Dhira will do exactly what Krishna wants him to do. So that is the way we have to understand this shloka. So this last paragraph, at least I will read from Prabhupada, 10th shloka, last paragraph. And adhira, one who has not undergone the training of a dhira, that means parampara system. One who has not undergone, cannot be an instructive leader. Modern politicians posing themselves as dhira are actually adhira. Adhira means sense gratifiers. And one cannot expect perfect knowledge from them. They are simply busy seeing to their own remuneration in dollars and cents. Prabhupada is speaking in America. How then can they lead the mass of people to the right path of self-realization. What is the right path? Self-realization is the right. Thus, one must hear submissively from a dhira in order to attain actual education. That is indicated by the word Shushruma Dhiranam. You have to listen submissively from a dhira. So with that, 10th shloka ends. 11th shloka we will take up in the next session. If you have any questions, you can ask that now. Or should I take the next shloka also?
Yes, Prabhuji.
11 also?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Yes, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Prabhuji, I have a question. Can I?
Yeah.
Prabhuji, in this sloka, the third explanation, serial number third, it talks about one should not become a source of anxiety for others by the action of his body, by thoughts of his mind, and by his words. So I wanted to understand, Prabhuji, look, I am taking it on myself that okay, I am into Krishna consciousness, but I am into this material world. There are others who are not into it. So probably they may get anxious around me with me doing things. So how much I have a control on that? So probably can you throw a light? That's a bit confusing part of it.
Okay. So, Prabhu, this is, as I said, it is picked up from 13th chapter. It is in the 8th shloka. This exact word given by Krishna is ahimsa. That is what Prabhupada has translated here. The word ahimsa as one should not become a source of anxiety. Because sometimes I will say, see, I am not voluntarily causing hurt to anybody, right? I am living my life. I am earning, I am enjoying, I am maintaining with my family, I am doing sense gratification, but I am not doing any violence to others, right? This is the way we define violence. And we think we will go to heaven for doing this, not causing willingly any harm to others. We think we are great people. Yeah, I have spoken to many, many people like this. They say, oh, I should live a good life. I should not do harm to others. And this is interpreted for their own convenience. But the word ahimsa, can anybody explain how Prabhupada explains ahimsa? Ajit Prabhu, you may also remember.
I'm not getting it.
See, Prabhupada
Prabhuji, from the third point, may I try, Prabhuji?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. From the third point, what Prabhuji asked is what I have understood is that with our kaya, vacha, manasa, we should be good to them, not causing any kind of trouble.
No, you are repeating whatever I told. But that is not the correct answer. See.
Ahimsa is something bringing them to the realization path, Prabhuji, and not giving them a chance to come back again.
Correct. That means if you see someone suffering, and you know how the cure is, what is the cure for that suffering, but still you don't share. That is violence, according to Prabhupada. So what is violence? If you have become Krishna conscious, or at least you are on the journey of Krishna consciousness, and you see others who are not, then you should do your best to bring them to Krishna consciousness. That is ahimsa. It's not that, oh, let them suffer as long as I want to remind you what Prahlad Maharaj said when Nrsimhadev asked him, what do you want? He said, I don't care whether you will take me to spiritual world. I don't want to go. As long as there is even one soul suffering in this material, one foolish soul suffering out of bodily consciousness in this world, I want to remain here and assist him to come back to you. This is Prahlad Maharaj saying. Nrsimhadev is right in front of him. And if he says he will take straight away to spiritual, of course he did take him. Prahlad Maharaj has two bodies. With one body, he's always in Vaikuntha. But with another body, is existing in this material world to assist everybody to go back home. So basically, that is ahimsa. In a devotee's heart, ahimsa springs automatically. But because we are practicing devotees, we should remember this principle. And to the best of our ability, we should preach this knowledge to others in a way that they will accept, not in a way that they will become antagonistic to ISKCON. We should do to the best of our ability. We have to use our superior intelligence. We should take guidance of other devotees. We should preach in a way that people become favorable to Krishna consciousness. And that is ahimsa. And that is the same thing. Prabhupada says, one should not become a source of anxiety to others by the actions of his body, thoughts, and mind, or by his words. So this we have to understand as, in all my actions of body, thoughts of mind, or by words, I should propagate Krishna consciousness. I should be the ideal example of a devotee. So that others, I don't even have to speak. By watching me, they will learn. If we behave in a way that it causes disturbance to others, like if I am a proud man, it will cause disturbance to others. If I am a envious man, it will cause problem to others. Like whatever negative I have, it's a problem, source of disturbance to others. But if you are a pure devotee, Prabhupada said, who is a devotee? Is a gentleman. Who is a Vaishnava? Is a perfect gentleman. That's what Prabhupada said. That's the definition. A perfect gentleman will never cause problem to others, correct? So that way we have to understand. So we have to see in the context and then. So if you have to become non-violent, you must become a preacher. What you know, you must share. Then only. So next shloka combines what we have studied 9 and 10, and it speaks as the 11th shloka. What it says, you have to learn the process of nescience. Let me read the shloka. Vidyam cha vidyam cha yas tat vedo bhayam saha avidyaya mrityum tirtva vidyaya mritam ashnute. Vidyam cha yas tat vedo bhayam saha avidyaya mrityum tirtva vidyaya mritam ashnute. Translation. Only one who can learn the process of nescience and that of transcendental knowledge side by side can transcend the influence of repeated birth and death and enjoy the full blessings of immortality. So you can become free from birth and death. How? You don't come back to the material world. That is the only way to become free from birth and death and enjoy the full blessings of immortality by going back to Godhead. How do you do that? You have to cultivate both nescience and transcendental knowledge. What is nescience? Knowledge of this material world. And knowledge, transcendental knowledge, is knowledge of Krishna. You have to cultivate both. Why? Because we have a bad bargain. What is a bad bargain? We have a material body. Why we have a material body? Because of ignorance and our desire to enjoy independently from Krishna, we have got a material body. Why this material body is a bad bargain? Because it is subject to birth, old age, disease, and death. And we are constantly under threefold miseries of Adhyatmik, Adhidaivik, and Adhibhaudika kleshas. And because of whatever actions we do, we are becoming bound by the reactions, and we take again and again rebirth. And our vasanas impel us to act in particular ways, which is not very intelligent. We have intelligence, but our vasanas are acting upon our intelligence. So while we think we are acting independently, we are not acting independently. Our independence is controlled by our karma vasanas. So anyone who says, I am independent, who is not a devotee, you have to laugh at him. There is no independence unless you become Krishna conscious. So here it is recommended that you should practice Krishna consciousness. That is why you have been given a human form of life. Human form of life is a boat. Spiritual master is the captain. Scriptures are your favorable wind. And you have to use these things to cross the ocean of samsara. So this is the message of this shloka. Since creation of the material world, Prabhupada says, everyone is trying to attain permanent life. Is it possible? Since creation, everyone is trying to attain permanent life, but everyone is died and gone. Everyone has died and gone. No one is able to avoid the hand of death. No one wants to die. No one wants to become old. No one wants to become diseased. But the law of nature is so cruel. It does not allow anyone immunity from these things. Nor advancement of material knowledge has solved the problems. What it is doing, material science, they are creating nuclear bombs to accelerate death, not to defer death or create immortality. So they cannot protect us from the sufferings what we have. So then Prabhupada, detailed way he describes Hiranyakashipu. How Hiranyakashipu was cultivating nescience. He did tapasya for, 10,000 years or something like that. And at the end of it, Brahma had to appear in front. By the power of his practice, Brahma had to come. All the devatas went and begged to Brahma, please give darshan to this man. His mystical powers are burning us. The power of his tapasya is burning the Sarvalokas. Then Brahma came and he asked immortality. Brahma said, sorry, I am also mortal. How can I give immortality? Then he, very tricky way, he obtained immortality. Very tricky boon he took from Brahma. While going back, Brahma was also thinking, my God, I have given this boon to him. Now he has become immortal. What to do? Brahma was thinking. But the Lord killed him in a moment. In such a beautiful way, we sing about it till today. What happened millions of yugas before. That we are still talking about it, glorifying the Lord. He got killed despite the advancement of nations, thinking, I will make my body immortal. So Prabhupada says, Hiranyakashipu means gold and soft bed. Gold means facility for sense enjoyment. Soft bed means enjoyment. These are the only two things Hiranyakashipu means. But ultimately, he had to die at the hands of the Supreme Lord. So Isopanisad says, not to make one-sided attempt to become free from the struggle for existence. Whatever God has given you, you should understand this is the quota given to me. You should make the best use of a bad bargain. Use this body to cultivate spiritual knowledge. Use this body to serve the Lord while doing the minimum to maintain yourself. You have to cultivate nescience means you have to maintain this body by doing the minimum possible. Not that you have to become CEO of your company and you have houses in every city or every country in the world. That kind of desires we should not have. We should have what is minimum required for self-maintenance. And you should become fearless by realizing I am a child of God. So that is what is recommended here. The Lord has given us the scriptures to learn and become free. But instead of reading scriptures, we are reading nonsense things, right? So Prabhupada says, Upanishads, Vedanta Sutra, Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam. By reading all these things, we can get the transcendental knowledge of how to go back home, back to Godhead. So one must study this literature because we have a human body. Animals cannot do. So the Lord has given the scripture in all countries of the world, but especially in India. The highest scriptures are available to us. And also, the Lord is sending his representatives from the spiritual kingdom. They come from spiritual. See, seeing from Prabhupada, you should not think he's a human being. He's a manjari from Krishna's pastimes. The highest Madhurya pastimes of Krishna. He has descended. And so, God is more sorry than us to see the sufferings we are undergoing. See, Prabhupada is saying. Prabhupada is coming from there. He's telling, God is more sorry for our suffering. It is no wonder, sometimes a wicked child is suffering. Parents feel so sorry. This fool does not learn. Is it not? Parents will think, this fool is not learning. I am trying to help. Like that, Krishna is thinking. But intelligent living entities take note of the reminders that is coming from God. What are the reminders? Old age, disease, death of ourselves, of near and dear ones, and then the reminders from the scriptures. We have to take advantage of that. If we don't take advantage, we are called Nara Adhama, the worst of the lowest of human beings, Prabhupada says. So the path of avidya for sense gratification is the path of repeated birth and death. So when we say we have to cultivate avidya, does not mean for sense gratification. We should do the needful for self-maintenance because this body is meant to die one day. What is the use of cultivating sense gratification? Therefore, the culture of transcendental knowledge is essential for human beings. Sense enjoyment is a diseased condition, so we have to restrict it. Prabhupada gives a nice example. Sense gratification is a diseased condition. We are having a fever. The fever is crossing 98.6, 99, 100, 102, 103, 104. The more materialistic civilization advances, this fever of sense gratification increases. That means temperature is going to 104, 105. What we should do? We should lower the temperature. For that purpose, what we have to do? Transcendental knowledge. Then the fever of sense gratification will go down. But it's not that completely you stop. Then the body becomes cold. Prabhupada says, our aim is not to make it zero. Our aim is to make it 98.6. What is 98.6? You are a person, you have your necessary education, you have a necessary job, you have a family, you do sense gratification in a limited way within the family only. You have sex only for producing children, God-conscious children. Your aim is to make the whole family Krishna-conscious, and then so that everybody can go back home, back to Godhead. That is you maintaining a normal temperature. Not that foolishly give up everything and run away. That is like, Rupa says, 0 degree. So, Rupa says, our temperature is in a feverish condition. It is reaching 107 degrees in the form of atomic energy. Which fool will produce such atom bombs and stockpile it all over the world? Even a small country like North Korea, which is totally out of control, and now Pakistan and Iran and countries like that, they have nuclear bombs. And what to speak of United States of America and countries like Russia, they considered superpowers. Any day they expect an atom bomb to fall on Ukraine. So Prabhupada says, in those days, Prabhupada says, this is all foolishness. And so Prabhupada says, so you should not stop the maintenance of the body. But it cannot be stopped. But best use of a bad bargain. Do the needful to maintain your body healthy and satisfied. Do the minimum sense gratification and do the rest of your energy and time for Krishna consciousness. So this is what the Vedas help us to do, to attain God. At the same time, reasonable sense gratification for maintenance of self and family, and the aim is to come back to God. Misguided men think that religion, the role of religion is to contribute to economic development. Foolish people think religion must contribute to economic. No, that is not the purpose of religion. Religion is to help you to know yourself, self-realization, and to go back home, back to Godhead. So the path of Vidya, now Prabhupada says, he is writing Isopanisad. Prabhupada is saying, the path of Vidya is most perfectly presented in Srimad Bhagavatam, which directs a human being to utilize his life to inquire into the absolute truth. The absolute truth is realized step by step as Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan, personality of Godhead. The absolute truth is realized by the broad-minded man, Brahmana, who has attained knowledge and detachment by following the 18 principles listed in the beginning of this thing. So all classes of men should learn the art of devotional service. Like that Prabhupada says. And ultimately, he quotes one shloka also from Bhagavatam. Very nice shloka. Please open that page, page number 82 in my book. Let us read this shloka together. Very, very powerful shloka. This comes in.
Should we unmute or keep it in mute, Prabhuji?
No, you can unmute also. First canto, second chapter, 14th shloka of Srimad Bhagavatam. So let us read this shloka. I will read and then you can repeat. Tasmad ekena manasa.
Tasmad ekena manasa.
Tasmad ekena manasa.
Tasmad ekena manasa.
Bhagavan Sattvatam Patihi.
Bhagavan Sattvatam Patihi.
Bhagavan Sattvatam Patihi.
Bhagavan Sattvatam Patihi.
Shrotavya Kirtitavyascha.
Shrotavya
Shrotavya Kirtitavyascha. Dheya Pujaschcha Nityada.
Deya Pujaschcha Nityada.
Dheya Pujaschcha Nityada. It is beautiful translation. Beautiful translation. Therefore, Tasmad means therefore. With one pointed attention, ekena manasa. One pointed attention. Mind should be focused. That's what, in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Vyavasayatmika buddhi. Ekeha kurunandana. Vyavasayatmika buddhi. Mind should be focused. Focused on what? The instructions of the spiritual master. So here it is, ekena manasa. Bhagavan Sattvatam Patihi. Sattvatam Patihi means is the protector of devotees. Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is the protector of all devotees. Shrotavyaha, by listening.
Hearing.
Kirtitavyascha, singing. So both you hear and speak. Shravanam, Kirtanam. That is Shrotavya, Kirtitavya. Shravanam, Kirtanam cha. By doing both, Dhyaya, by remembering him, Pujya, worshipping him, cha, Nityada, always. So by always, with one-pointed attention, we should constantly hear about, glorify, remember, and worship the personality of Godhead, who is the protector of the devotees. This is the conclusion of 11th shloka. So cultivating Vidya, cultivating Avidya simultaneously, side by side, means we should always speak about, hear about, remember, worship the personality of Godhead. He is the protector of all devotees. We should have no fear at all. And with one-pointed attention, we should do this bhakti. Yeah. See, amazing, huh? Just one shloka from Srimad Bhagavatam. See the power of this shloka. It has 18,000 shlokas. When we will read. So please make time. Please free yourself from unwanted activities. Not that I am saying become Falgu Vairagya, but become Yukta Vairagya. Don't do more than what is necessary for maintenance of this material body and material commitments, and give everything else to cultivate spiritual knowledge. Thank you very much. If there is any question, you can ask. Otherwise,